Part 1. Learning Together. Chapter 1. Start Strong. One of the first Bible study groups I ever attended was at the Sigma Chi fraternity house at Cornell University. We were a hodgepodge of academics, sorority girls, fraternity boys, star athletes, mature believers, there must have been at least one, non-believers, and quasi-believers. I'll put myself in that last category. The lacrosse player who introduced me to the group was a guy named Frank. Sometime later, Frank shared with me his first experience with the group. He had never attended a Bible study before, so he entered the second-story room sheepishly, and after surveying the 1 or 2 available seats in the room, he wormed his way between the 3 pretty co-eds already squished together on the couch. The leader opened in prayer and instructed the group to turn to Ephesians 2 so they could read it together. Frank panicked. He had no idea where Ephesians was or even what Ephesians was. So he turned to the woman next to him and coolly asked, "Where's Ephesians?" She replied, "Next to Galatians." Great. As if he knew where Galatians was. Frank was in desperate need of some direction. He had no idea where to start, and he needed someone to come alongside and help him understand. Perhaps you've been in a situation similar to Frank's, where everyone but you seem to know the drill. Or maybe you've led groups where the people attending know absolutely nothing about the Bible or its doctrines. I once led a group where one of the people attending, a woman named Anne, had once believed that the Trinity was Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, a phrase often used as an expletive in some parts of the country. She learned this basic and vital Christian doctrine before coming to the group, but the point is we all need to internalize these foundational ideas. Frank and Anne represent some of the unique needs of those who are entering the on-ramp of spiritual development. They are in a growing relationship with God, but they are learning how to merge their modern secular lives with the great historic and present-day stream of God's activity among His people. There is a lot of excitement, but plenty of confusion as well, and much room to grow. As with newbies in any endeavor, there are many new things for them to learn, and one of the most powerful ways they'll learn is through relationships with other believers. Learning is what defines this stage. That's why we call it the Learning Together stage. Creative, I know. Because of the vast amount of learning that takes place in this stage, a highly directive relationship is needed, one that allows growth to happen in a focused and logical manner. Though it's been several years since I first learned some of these foundational spiritual truths, I can certainly relate to the feelings of confusion that people have when they are learning something new. A rather silly analogy, but still quite real, is in the realm of learning to play video games. My son tells me I am a noob, someone who knows nothing. Truth be told, if I'm ever going to learn a video game, it will only happen if they take the time to teach me every little detail. I finally learned Little Big Planet, but even with their help, I never could get the hang of Super Mario Bros. When I play a video game, there is just so much to look at, so much activity, that it leaves me utterly confused. It's a whole new world, completely unfamiliar. I don't understand the rules, the dangers, or even, sometimes, the point. It's game over before I've even begun. The spiritual life can look just as bewildering to someone who is absorbing a new set of beliefs, growing in a relationship with an unseen being, developing new friendships, and learning the scriptures, often for the first time in their lives. For some new believers, it's game over just as they are getting started. You see, without a proper foundation in the basic beliefs and practices of the faith, these new disciples of Christ are vulnerable. It takes commitment and deliberate focus to walk with them developmentally to the point when they mature in their relationship with God and grow in their faith. It's far easier to simply allow them to become absorbed into the Christian subculture of the church, but that doesn't mean they are growing. A person can attend church and even be involved in leadership, and yet never take steps to grow and mature in their faith. They can be a cultural Christian, but not a growing disciple. If growth is to occur, significant progress must be made in helping these new believers grasp the core beliefs of the faith, understand the scriptures, and gain comprehension that extends beyond mere head knowledge. Growing and maturing followers of Christ will begin to see themselves as part of the bigger picture of God's greater story. The progress they make through the learning together stage sets them up for a lifetime of following God. Dallas Willard, in Renovation of the Heart, wrote, "Disciples of Jesus are like those who are with him learning to be like him. That is, they are learning to lead their life, their actual existence, as he would lead their life if he were they. This is what they are learning together in their local gatherings, and with those gatherings a constant part of their life, they are learning how to walk with Jesus and learn from him in every aspect of their individual lives." Learning to drive in Boston. One night at small group, Lisa suddenly and unexpectedly blurted out, "I get it!" We looked at her, wondering what she meant. During this particular study, we were exploring how various themes are carried out through the scriptures. Lisa went on to explain, "Since first becoming a Christian, I have been learning about the Bible and its importance in my life, but through our group I've begun to see the Bible differently. Now I get it. This is the same thing that happened when I was learning to drive in Boston." Now we were confused. My experience was that learning to drive in Boston was more like a nightmare. Really? I thought. Studying the Bible can't be that dangerous. Lisa explained. "When I first started working," she said, "I had an apartment in East Boston and traveled all over the city for work and fun using the T. The T is how Bostonians affectionately refer to the subway system. Later, when I moved to the suburbs and bought a car, I began driving the roads that overlaid that very subway system, and for a while it seemed I had to entirely relearn the city. Nothing was familiar to me, and it took a long time to connect what I knew so well underground to the streets and buildings and distances between places above ground. It's been the same process for me in studying the Bible. Early on, I learned a few key foundational truths to undergird my faith. I was so excited to learn the truths in Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, then go underground and come up to Psalm 23, and then learn about Revelation chapter 3, verse 20, John chapter 3, verse 16, and Galatians chapter 5, verse 22. But I would zip from one verse to another verse without really understanding the context of where they actually fit in the whole of the Bible. Now, as I am learning the lay of the land, I'm finding those treasured truths amid the context of a much bigger picture. Lisa wasn't just picking up bits here and there. Our deliberate and intentional study of the Bible was helping her see how it all fit together. This is the key shift that happens when someone is growing. A person no longer relies on random verses that offer encouragement on different topics. They begin to see the whole story of God. Whether driving in Boston or navigating the spiritual landscape of the kingdom of God, once this level of understanding has been reached, we have a foundation, something that can support the rest of our journey. There is always more that can be learned, but a bigger picture is beginning to form. Reading to learn. There are some parallels between the learning of this first stage of spiritual growth and early child development. Early elementary educators typically observe a shift in young children as they grow and mature. In the first year or two of school, the focus of a reading curriculum will involve learning the meaning of words, basic grammar, and sentence structure. Children are learning how to read. They are comprehending the mechanics of language at a basic level. And then it changes. Suddenly, the light of comprehension is turned on. Symbols on pages connect to meaningful ideas, to a story, to reality. The child has now learned to read and comprehend. But this achievement is hardly the destination. It's simply a significant threshold. It may seem obvious, but after this point, the purpose of reading is to learn. We learn to read, then we read to learn. And once we can read, we can learn anything. The door is opened wide. The same principle applies to the basic truths of the spiritual life. Once we grasp the basics, those basics become foundational to everything else we do.